October, the Chilean government announced a fare increase for the metro in Santiago. Small as it was, only 4 cents, students decided enough was enough. They started a mass turnstile jumping. A month later, high school students are still out protesting, as we see here. The floodwaters have been let loose, and daily mass protests, which are still ongoing, follow. Every evening, mainly but not only young people gather at the Plaza Italia in central Santiago, as well as elsewhere throughout the country to protest. There are other protests, from bicycle riders to unionists. Political graffiti lines the buildings throughout Santiago, and everybody wants to talk politics. Protests continue. Here are striking teachers on the march. The daily protests in Santiago's Plaza Italia are confronted by the Carabineros, who are kind of like a national SWAT team, infamous for their brutality. Every night, they douse the protesters with water laced with tear gas and shot from an Israel-type water cannon, plus also with tear gas shells. Something like 20 protesters have been killed so far. A wall memorial to some of the martyrs of the Chilean uprising, killed by the Carabineros. Here you see first aid workers treating one protester who collapsed from the tear gas. 29-year-old Abel Acuña was not so fortunate. He collapsed, and when the first aid workers went to revive him, they were driven off by the Carabineros, and Acuña died. Everywhere, there is an intense hatred for the Carabineros, known derisively as Pacos, and the youth are not intimidated. Here, in fact, a police vehicle known as a Zorrillo is greeted with a Molotov cocktail. Also, neighborhood-wide popular assemblies such as this one meet every week throughout Chile. A socialist from Argentina gives the word of greeting.
Chile no es un oasis, que Chile no es un lugar en donde el pueblo viva bien, como nos quisieron mostrar.
I had the opportunity to convey a message of greetings from some workers in the United States to the courageous people of Chile.
Dicen, enviamos nuestra solidaridad a toda la clase trabajadora de Chile.
In addition to open discussion, this assembly included a short political theatrical production. After the assembly, there was a march through the neighborhood. They are chanting, "Coward Piñera, your hands are full of blood." A couple of days later, teachers went on strike and marched through downtown Santiago. The atmosphere was confident and almost cheerful from the start. In response to this absolutely massive outpouring of anger, Chilean President Sebastián Piñera and almost all the other political parties have gotten together to sign an agreement for social peace and for a new constitution. However, almost nobody I spoke with has any confidence in this agreement. The plans for a new constitutional assembly seem to be stitched up to ensure that nothing fundamental changes, especially not the privatization of almost everything in sight. And so the battle continues. Questions remain. Will the rank-and-file union members decisively transform their unions? And will the working class decisively stamp its imprint on the struggles? And will the youth bring the older workers into the more radical struggles? And how clearly will it be seen that it's capitalism that we're really fighting? Most important is the fact that the revolutionary traditions live on, and not only in Chile, in Iran and Iraq, in Sudan, in Haiti, in Colombia. A world revolt against the ravages of capitalism is underway. How it will turn out is yet to be determined. Meanwhile, though, as with much of the rest of the world, a new day has dawned in Chile.